When was America ever great for black people? That is the question that is asked by every white liberal, every single one of these black folks who are still on the Democratic plantation. I mean, when I came out of the Democratic stronghold and I came out of that conservative closet, this was a question, I mean, to this day, I am still asked as far as my support of President DJT. When was America ever great for black people? And to that I say, right now. To that I say the last probably 100 years, which sounds crazy because I'm still putting into context that the last 100 years it was Jim Crow. But if you were to look at it in comparison to black people living across the entire world, not just the diaspora, right? Not just those on the islands, etc. I'm talking about the entire globe. If you were to look at the quality of life of the average black person, it's not even comparable. So America was great for black people even during Jim Crow. I'm not saying it was fair. I'm not saying that everything was right. The Democratic Party still looked to have that stronghold on black people's actual freedom in many different ways. But let's not get it twisted to say that America has not been the most successful experiment when it comes to a free market that allows for individuals to make a way. It's the reason why to this day, there's still millions upon millions of people, if not billions, trying to break into this country, find any way in. They're willing to go across shark-infested waters in order to get here. They're willing to drown trying. So, when was America ever great for black folks? That's the question at hand, and I'm curious to see what the answer is going to be from this man right here. And I'll call him a brother right here, not because of skin color, but because I already see the MAGA hat. You a MAGA man, you a brother of mine. Let's get into it.
I'd say the worst thing about the conversation between myself and the left-wing supporter, I presume, so that's great, is that she purposely wouldn't exactly give me a chance to answer. She was trying to, let's say, spark an emotional response by what she was talking about was slavery. Because I guess she feels like, well, since I'm black, I have to relate to slavery, and that's got to be
It has to be a white liberal woman. It always is. They look to control black people, and if they can't control you, then they hate you. They're the ones who'll say they're gonna send you back to Africa. Huh? You're gonna get deported. You Hispanic supporting Trump. You black supporting Trump. Wait a minute. The type of messages I get from white liberals, and they always be the anonymous, whatever. Oh my God. They lose their ever living minds. They can't believe we escaped the plantation. Sorry, Woodrow Wilson. Sorry. It's over.
Hot button issue. Never mind the fact that I've never been a slave, don't know anyone, and I'm not a slave, of course. She asked me the question, on my hat, when was America great? I answered it like this. America has been great from the very start because this nation was founded on the principles of freeing us from tyranny, okay?
Facts, that brother reads. Oh, ain't nothing better than a reading man. A reading.
There were slaves and so forth. But there were a lot of people of all colors, let's say white, in this nation that did not feel like that was correct. And this nation from that time has been moving out of tyranny, from bondage in one way or another, whether it be from Britain or whether it be from slavery as a whole. In case she doesn't know, there was a civil war. And in part, I say in part, a whole lot of white people, if you look at history, died because they wanted this nation and people like myself to be free. I believe that. Wait a minute, let me get myself together.
Get together, you're fine.
Because when you talk about this country, I do love the country. Because
this man is a nationalist. He's a patriot. This is what the founding fathers saw. A place that you can be proud of. And you know, they made us believe that to wave your flag, the one that you stand behind, the one that has afforded you the life that you currently have, the one that you will stand up and defend. They had you convinced that if you raise that flag, you're a racist. And I'm talking not just to Americans. I'm talking to Brits. I'm talking to the Poles or the Polish. I'm talking to the Belgians. If your country happened to be occupied by quote unquote white people, you were told that if you raise your flag, you're racist. And yet everybody else could raise their flag with pride while burning yours and still begging you to come to your country. That day is over. This might be a military, man. I don't know, because if you played sports or you're in the military, you likely got to mix and mesh with everybody and realize that we are all standing for the same thing. We all want the same thing. And the enemy is the individual who is looking to destroy this thing. It is the communist mindset. Now I realize, I didn't understand the commies out to get us, it's real. It's always been a war of ideology. It's been a war of ideas to say freedom versus tyranny, freedom versus control, the monarchy versus the republic. It's always been that. Dig your teeth into history and you will gain a different level of respect for what this is, because this was not promised and it didn't come from nowhere. There were men who were willing to sacrifice their entire lives in order for this thing that was just an idea to finally be made manifest. And that in and of itself, I get why this brother's emotional. I get it.
Because this nation gives you the right to move yourself up out of any poor, bad position that you're in like no other nation. While some nations might step on you and say, hey, you're going to stay like that, or they have the classism, we don't. What she's saying about this nation's horrible, basically saying, oh, it's just full of racists, and I should be stupid enough to believe that when I'm sitting right here and see people who are nice of all colors, that do things, work together, and this fool wants to take us back to a time when everyone hates each other.
My God. I've got real life I usually get chills in my head and frequently on my arms. Usually it's in my head. I get the tinglies when something hits like this. There is nothing more beautiful than a sight like that. Than a free man. You are no longer shackled and bound by ideology. Did this country have a perfect history? Absolutely not. Who did? Was there not violence? Where was there no violence? But did America do its absolute best on behalf of its people? And that means those in the beginning to those right now. Yes, there were men who looked to keep those privileges for themselves. But the founding fathers, and I'm talking about individuals like Thomas Jefferson to Thomas Paine, from Benjamin Franklin to John Adams, individuals who wanted to see the abolition of slavery even as early as the 1700s. They devoted their lives to it. And then, of course, as that man said, the ones who died on behalf of that cause. Because, you know, we have this narrative flying around. Oh, it wasn't about slavery. It wasn't about slavery. But guess what? It eradicated slavery. Only two places in the world in modern history that fought themselves on the basis of this issue, and only one that shed this much blood on the basis of this issue. So when was America great for black people? And this is coming from a man who has had the opportunity to become an American citizen through a beautiful process known as the green card process. It's been great for black Americans as well as all Americans since the very beginning. The idea was always there. The execution took a little longer to kick in, but guess what? Now we're here and you have the opportunity to do what the hell you want with your life. I picked up a camera. I picked up a microphone and I started to speak out into the wilderness, speak out into the silence. And then one person, and then 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. And now we're here because I live in a country that allowed for that somebody was incentivized to create the platform, somebody incentivized to create the microphone, the camera, somebody incentivized to do all of these things. I incentivized to tell truth. You incentivize to give your attention, time, and energy. That's the beauty of the place that we live. So I would actually not make America great again. I would say make America greater. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking. A 365, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up, you know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises, you get to praising.